Hello everyone and welcome to another new review, and this one going to be on Grifter issue number 0 from the new 52. And basically I got into this comic book because I liked the Grifter from Wildcats, the animated series, and I wanted to know more about him and to read more about him. So in this issue we basically got that Grifter, he's kind of dreaming of him working with his brother and Lynch, hopefully that's how they pronounce his name, and he basically was a part of the team that is called Team 7, but that was a long time ago until we see him seeing this guy in front of him with a hoodie, and he basically came to Grifter in the dream and he started to tell him stuff, but Grifter couldn't really get it. In the end we saw that he was into this tube and he was being tested on, and until we saw that he is being the secret weapon to this war that is going to start between the human race and the demonites. And later on we saw that the hoodie guy, the one that Grifter saw in the dream, he basically came after Grifter. He kind of freed him from the tube and he kind of made him escape the prison that he was in. And later on we saw that Grifter has woke up again, and this thing happened to him like 3 times. He woke up again, he saw himself in a strange room, he saw new stuff, new identity, everything is new, and in the end he saw this paper that had a W on it, which means the guy, he calls himself for now W. That's his secret identity for now. So that was pretty much for issue number 0. It wasn't that good, to be quite honest. Issue 0 wasn't that good. It wasn't pretty interesting, but it was a mysterious issue, to be quite honest. I really liked issue number 0, and we got in the end a history of Grifter, and you basically know that his real name is Cole Cash. He goes by the name Grifter for his charming manner and ability to smooth talk his way to anything he is after, and Grifter spent years deeply involved in a special ops mission all over the world, his time serving with the mysterious Team 7 only. So yeah, as I said, he's been serving them, but then he left, and later on we saw that Grifter's life has forever changed when he discovered his connection to the Demonites, an alien race intent on invading and destroying the Earth, armed with the ability to see the Demonites as truly exist while embedded among humanity. Grifter must find a way to defeat the aliens while convincing his parents that he's not insane, which was a pretty interesting part as well. And in the end we saw some powers, what is the powers of Grifter, and you basically saw that he's a skilled soldier with the ability to detect demonites. You can hear them, you can see them, which was pretty interesting. And then he has these powerful powers, that he still don't know what is it. It's undefined mental powers, and it might be telekinesis, which is pretty interesting. Grifter issue number 1, another pretty interesting issue, which was a pretty good issue. I really loved it. I really love the art on the cover. I really love the cover itself. It was a pretty good issue, and this issue basically starts off with Grifter in an airplane, and he's basically hearing the stuff in his head, and he basically getting chased by the demonites because earlier on he kind of escaped them. The demonites kind of got him for some reason. We don't know why, but it was a pretty interesting part, and that's where Grifter had enough of it, and that's where he kind of killed one of these demonites that were on the plane that were tracking him down. Later on we saw that Grifter is one of the best con men in the world. He kind of cheated this guy, he took money, and he was about to leave to meet up with his girlfriend until he got kidnapped by these demonites. We don't know why. We don't know why did they need him, but he's a vessel for some kind of a demonite person or a monster, which was a pretty interesting part. Later on we saw that after he was fighting off these demonites in the plane, he jumped out of the plane, and that's where he kind of called his girlfriend, and his girlfriend told him that he's been gone missing for 17 days, and on the other side it was written like 2 hours later. So I don't know what was going on, but another pretty interesting issue. It was pretty good. Later on we saw that this Colonel was talking to the brother of Grifter. He wants his brother, he wants the brother of Grifter to take him down before news starts to leak out, and before they know that Grifter has a brother who works under the colonel, which is gonna affect their picture on the public and all that stuff. So in the end we saw that Grifter is getting all ready with his mask on, and he's gonna take on the Demonites for whatever they are after, or why they are after him. We don't know why yet, but he's gonna take them on. So another pretty interesting issue for Grifter, issue number 1. It was a pretty good start for Grifter. I really like the art, I really like the writing of this book. It's pretty interesting. Issue number 2 of Grifter was another good issue, where the issue starts off with Grifter talking to his girlfriend Gretchen as he met her, and he started to tell her about the stuff that has been going in his head. But she didn't really believe him. She called him a murderer after what he did to this cop right here. He heard the cop, and he basically knew that he is another Demonite, and basically the moment he encountered him, this big fight started off between Grifter and this Demonite police officer, and you know, the upper hand was for Grifter. He took him down as his girlfriend Gretchen just called him a murderer, and she just left to the train station so she could catch up with a train and go to Gotham City, as we saw that the ones who work for the colonel in the Pentagon, she kind of found out something about the tape that was in the airplane, and she basically saw the shadow or the spirit of the Demonites leaving her body or something, and that's where the colonel had this weird reaction after he went out of the office, and he basically called someone, and he told that someone that he has another sighting on whatever he was looking at. But I think so he's working for the Demonites. You know, I have a feeling that he is working for the Demonites. In the end of the issue, so that Grifter has taken the police officer car as he went to catch up with Gretchen before you know, she leaves to Gotham City. But the moment he was on his way, he kind of got encountered by his brother Max, and that's where the fight started up, and that's where it's going to continue. Issue number 3. Grifter issue number 3 is a continuation of issue number 1 and 2, and basically this issue starts off with, you know, the Pentagon people are kind of reviewing what is happening right now and what happened 5 years ago. Basically a Demonite has appeared, and basically they are connecting it somehow to the airplane incident that Grifter was involved in. Later on we saw that Grifter has finally met his brother again, you know, Max. His brother caught up with him, and he stopped him right there. He wanted him to turn himself in before he forced him to do it, but Grifter refused. He was like, you know, there's something out there I need to catch up with, until Max came to the knowledge of his girlfriend Gretchen, and that's where they take us to outside of Gotham City, and we saw that Gretchen has kind of got attacked by these people. We don't know who are they. We don't know if they belong to these Demonite people or they belong to the Pentagon people. We don't know. We're not sure about it. But later on we saw that Grifter and his brother Max were attacked by a Demonite, and that's where Demonite has beat the crap out of his brother, and that's where his brother was right under the helicopter that was shot by his brother, and the helicopter just fell on his brother, and that's where it kind of killed him. I'm not sure so far because I didn't read issue number 4, but so far he looks like he's dead. Grifter took revenge on him, and that's where he tracked his boss down, which goes by the name Taspov, and he basically got into his car and told him that we're going north, as we saw that Gretchen, his girlfriend, has been left underground for some reason. We don't know where is she, what is this place. I'm pretty much looking forward to issue number 4. Issue number 4 of the Grifter starts up in Oliver Queen's company, as we saw that Savo, or learned that Savo is basically working for Oliver Queen's company, and that's where Grifter had an idea that maybe you know, Oliver Queen is you know, around all this thing, you know, this whole demonist thing that is happening. Maybe Oliver Queen was behind it. That's why we went to the company to ask him questions and to get some answers. So later on we saw that Grifter and Green Arrow has finally encountered each other, which was a pretty cool encounter. You know, I really loved it, I really liked it, until we saw that there is this guy who's called Owen. He knows something that he don't want to tell to the general, or I mean to the colonel, as we later on saw that the colonel has actually learned that the Grifter is in Starling City, and we later on saw that this showdown kept on going between the Grifter and Green Arrow, and that's where Grifter told Green Arrow what he was doing in the Oliver Queen's company, and that's where he told Green Arrow that there are these demons that are hunting him for some reason. He don't know why, but he wanted to ask Oliver Queen about it. And of course, I know that Green Arrow, aka Oliver Queen, later on we saw that Oliver Queen has actually took down the Grifter. But the moment he was about to get captured, there's the smoke that started to happen around them, and that's where Grifter made his escape with the help of this girl right here, who we later on learned her name, and her name was Sofia Kondo. Hopefully that's her name. Yeah, that's how they pronounce it. And in the end, we saw that there's this girl who was, talking to the Grifter's girlfriend, and that's where we learned that she was actually captured by the Demonites, and that's where I think she gonna possess the girlfriend, which looks pretty interesting and gonna be continued in issue number 5. Issue number 5 of the Grifter continues from where we saw that Sophia has already met with Grifter, and she was the one who saved his ass in issue number 4, and that's where we see that Grifter is having these troubles with trusting her. That's where she convinced him somehow to trust her, and that's where they took us to this guy who's called Savo and who's behind the chase after Grifter, and that's where we saw he was talking to this lady who's called Carver, and she basically ordered him to stay away from Grifter. She's gonna handle him. After we saw that he didn't really listen to her, but he ordered some dynamites to go after Grifter, and that's where we saw that Sophia tried to help him out, but she really couldn't. After we saw that Craver was there, the woman was there, and that's where she kind of prisoned Grifter, and that's where we're gonna see a really big thing in issue number 6, and basically I think so Grifter gonna be used to summon black creature. Hopefully that's how they pronounce it. So yeah, issue number 6, here we come. Grifter issue number 6 is finally the conclusion for the story arc that has been going on since issue number 1, and we finally learned that Grifter has been all along, the sacrifice to get this creature that is called the Black Curate, and we basically saw that Sophia has bugged Grifter so she could track him down and get to his current place, which is the Demonite hideout, and that's where we saw that Craver started to call out to the Black Curate as he started to appear from the portal, and he started to take the life of Grifter, but that's where he escaped, and that's where he got pissed, and that's where Craver paid for her mistake, for letting him slip out of their hands, and that's where we saw that one of the Demonites actually got his hands on the Grifter's girlfriend Gretchen, and that's where he took her into the portal, and that's where Grifter couldn't really handle himself. I was going after her until Sophia stopped him right there, and she just told him, let's go outside of here, it's gonna explode, and that's where they jumped off the plane that was flying, and that's where we saw that Grifter is experiencing this thing in his head. There is someone who's calling him out. I don't know if it's a Demonite, but it looks like it's a Demonite. He's calling out for help, and issue number 7, we're gonna be having Midnight. Issue number 7 from the Grifter had a special guest on it, and it was Midnighter from Stormwatch, and we basically opened this issue with Grifter going to the source that was calling for help, and the moment he went there, it was some kind of an object, and when he was there, he encountered Midnighter, and Midnighter told him that he saw something he should have never seen. It was a big secret that he should have never seen, and that's where this big fight started between them. Midnighter wanted to make sure that Grifter is dead, but in the end Grifter has reached out to that object, and that object basically transferred a lot of information to the Grifter, and he basically knew about Stormwatch, which should have been a secret from the world and from everyone, but he already know about it, and that's where Midnighter has had enough with him, and that's where he wanted to take him down. Later on we saw that Max, the brother of Grifter, has actually survived the accident. He's not dead, he is all alive, and he's going after the Grifter in issue number 8. Later on we saw that Midnighter made sure that Grifter is dead, or that's what he thought, where Grifter actually survived. In the end of the issue we saw his bond is all up for defeating Superman. He's gonna be fighting him in issue number 7 from Superman, which is pretty interesting. I might read it, I might review it in this video as well, I might put it as a bonus in the end of the video. I might do it, I'm not sure, but this issue was just really great. Grifter issue number 8 was another great issue, and we basically open up this issue where we saw Grifter was on this airplane that has been bombed up by one of the Demonites, and that's where he found that Sophia was dead at that moment. Not only so that the Demonites were led by his brother Max, or that's what he thought, because his brother was basically possessed by Miev, the Demonite that he was fighting earlier on in the earlier issues of Grifter, and that's where we saw that Grifter has been running away from his brother Max, so he wouldn't kill him. He don't want to kill him. He want to find a way to free his soul from the Demonite that was inside him. But in the end, Max has spoke to Grifter, and he told him that you gotta kill me. If you don't kill me, he's gonna kill you, and I don't want to watch him kill you. And that's where he was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill him. And that's where Grifter killed his brother, his own brother, and he just lost a lot. And that's where we saw Grifter in the end of the issue. He was going crazy. He's killing all these Demonites that were climbing the evil tower, which was amazing. And in the end, we saw that Savo was basically, sending these Demonites to Grifter so he could build them up and activate him, because he wants him to kill off these Demonites and to kill off basically the Black Curate, which is pretty interesting, and the rest of the Demonites. He's working against the Demonites right now, which was a pretty cool part. So yeah, I think issue number 9 just gonna blow up everyone's mind. Issue number 9 of the Grifter opens up with Grifter fighting off these Demonites as he flips all like 360, and he just starts shooting them until he got encountered by one of these strong Dynamites, and that's where he got some help from this lady right here who's called Nico, and she's basically another person who fights off these Dynamites just like Grifter, and she's on a force to take down these aliens before they invade Earth, because basically she learned that the invasion gonna happen soon, because they found out that Earth is basically a good replacement for the dead homeland of the Dynamites, and that's where they learned about the chosen one. The Demonites learned about the chosen one, and that's where Nico told Grifter that he is the chosen one. He is the one who's gonna lead the forces of the human race against the Dynamites, which was a pretty good part. And in the end, we saw that there's another person who joined the team who was called Deathclaw, and that's where he appeared to take them on a ride, to move out of the safe house before any Dynamite get to them. So issue number 9, great issue, and issue number 10, we're gonna have the big force of human beings, going against the Dynamites. Issue number 10 of the Grifter opens up with the Grifter and his new team while they were moving to a new safe house, and that's where the Demonites actually started to attack them, and that's where we saw Deathblow in action, which was a pretty amazing action scene. Little only saw that he was was facing actually a soldier from the Demonites who was about to get killed until Grifter actually took care of him, and that's where we saw the telekinesis powers of Grifter, which was a pretty amazing part. I really loved it. I was like going, oh holy shit, it was just an amazing part. He took care of the Demonites that were fighting them. They went to the safe house, and that's where things started to heat up from there. They got attacked again by Demonite, which was going by the name Singe, and that's where issue number 10 stops. Grifter issue number 11 opens up with Grifter, Deathblow, and Nico fighting off this guy who's called Singe. As we saw, this big fight kept on going between them. Later on, we saw that Nico tried to take out Singe by blowing him up, and she tried blowing him up while Deathblow was lying on the floor right in front of him, and that's where Grifter actually rescued him. Later on, we saw that Singe didn't really die from the explosion, but he woke up all over again. Grifter asked Nico to take Deathblow to the safety until Grifter took care of Singe, and in the end we saw that Nico was the mole in the team. She was the trader in the team, and that's where she took down Grifter and that blow, and she basically went back to Hellspawn spaceship, and that's where she gave Grifter and that blow to Hellspawn. Grifter issue number 12 opens up with Hellspawn getting on his new plan to take down the Daemonites that are actually on Earth because he wants revenge on them. The moment the plan succeeds, he's gonna take revenge on them and kill them off, and he will be the only ruler on Earth. Little only so that Hellspawn has finally called up Grifter to talk to him and to make him an offer, but that's where Grifter has revealed to Nico that he already had her from the start. You know, he knew that she was a mole, he knew that she was a traitor, and that's where he just let her capture them so they could get close enough to Hellspawn and kill him off. And that's where we saw Grifter is exploding with great power, and that's where they made their escape after taking down Hellspawn, Singe, and Nico. The moment they took off with that plane, you know, they thought that the spaceship has been exploded, but it didn't. You know, Hellspawn has survived, Singe has survived, and I'm pretty much looking forward to see how they did it, and pretty much looking forward to see how Hellspawn gonna respond to Grifter after this issue. Grifter issue number 13 opens up with the mysterious guy from issue number 0, who we finally know his name, Warwick, and he's basically planning to take down Stormwatch, Amanda Waller's, Argeus, and more. So he basically told Grifter to go into Star Labs to, you know, get teleported to the Stormwatch tower, and that's where he got some help from Voodoo. And we basically saw in this issue that Voodoo and Grifter are together, and that's where we saw that Grifter has reached the Stormwatch tower, and that's where they started a big fight between Apollo and Grifter. You know, Apollo has encountered Grifter before he went any further, until we saw that Grifter took care of Apollo, and that's where he went to the main system and he downloaded a virus to the main system that affected the teleportation devices, and it basically he even actually pulled up some information about Amanda Waller. We don't know why is he doing that yet, but it was pretty interesting. So in the end, we saw that Grifter has left, but he didn't leave alone. You know, Midnighter went after him, and that's where they're gonna take us to issue number 14 to be continued. Issue 14 of Grifter basically continues the story that has been going on since issue number 13, and that's where we see a big battle between Midnighter and Grifter, and that's where we learn that both of them, they're gonna keep on teleporting until Apollo and Engineer basically find a solution to the teleportation problem. And we saw that Grifter and Midnighter has gone down the ocean, they has gone to a lot of different places until they reached to Tokyo, and that's where Apollo got the solution for the virus that Grifter has installed in their system, and that's where they got back Midnighter, but he got back alone, as we saw that Engineer has sent Grifter back to Argeus to face Amanda Waller and her Suicide Squad, which was a pretty interesting cliffhanger for issue number 14. Issue 15 of the Grifter opens up with a flashback to Amanda's past, where she was assigned to a mission to get a girl who's called Kelly, and we basically saw that she was into this room where they were talking about Daemonites, and that's where they took us to the present time, where we see Grifter has been chased by the Suicide Squad, and he's been using his powers against them to take them down, until we saw that Amanda Waller, while she was doing her mission 6 years ago, she kind of comforted the guy who Grifter is working for right now, who was called Warwick, and that's where we saw that Grifter got caught up. They kind of cuffed him in, and that's where Amanda started to talk to him, and that's where she told him about Warwick, and if she told him, if you are working for Warwick, well, you're working for the crazy maniac guy. He's just a crazy man. He doesn't know what is he doing, he doesn't know what is he talking about, and that's where Grifter felt bad, and that's where he felt angry actually about it, and that's where he gonna take revenge or get some answers from him in the next coming issue. It's gonna be at the conclusion for this run of the Grifter in the New 52. Grifter issue number 16 opens up with Grifter comforting Warwick about him, and about him being all crazy and maniac, and that's where Warwick started to tell him a story about him and about himself, about Grifter himself, and that's where he told him that he was one of the last survivors that were experimented on by the Daemonites that were on Earth, the ones who were trying to take down Hellspawn by creating these war machines, and basically Warwick started to this mission to take down Hellspawn, but that's where Hellspawn actually stopped him, and the last hope of humanity was in Grifter, and that's why Warwick, kind of freed Grifter from the tubes in issue number 0, and that's where we saw this big fight going on between Warwick and Grifter. He didn't really believe, or he didn't really care about it, since he lied to him about this whole thing. And in the end, we saw that Amanda has came after Grifter, and Warwick, Warwick kind of just let himself down this cage and got eaten up by these animals. In the end, we saw that Grifter has finally gave up his life as the criminal or the superhero that he was. He's taking a little bit of break, and in the end, we saw Hellspawn in this scene where we don't know if he's coming after Earth again, or is it the end of the book. I'm pretty much looking forward to see how they're gonna turn out, because this is the last issue of this amazing run of the Grifter in New 52, and I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. The team has been changed since the start to the end. There's a lot of changes that happened. I kind of liked the changes that happened in the middle of the book, because I felt like I'm reading the Grifter from the Wildcats, the funny one, the sarcastic one, the serious one as well. Of course, the first few issues were good as well. It was more like of a dark Grifter. It wasn't really the one that I saw in Wildcats, in the show that I kind of watched. And of course, I liked the writing, I liked the art in it, I liked the story, to be quite honest. I really loved it. I really loved the development of Grifter himself, how he became the superhero he is, and how he developed these powers that he's getting right now. The telekinesis was one of my favorite actually powers that Grifter got in this run. And of course, we got a lot of guest stars on the issues that has been coming out. We got Green Arrow, we got Voodoo, we got Stormwatch, Midnighter. All these people were just amazing in the run as well. They really added a lot. In the end, Suicide Squad as well was in the end of the issues, which was a pretty good start as well. Ending as well. So yeah, that was pretty much for Grifter. If you didn't read this run, go ahead. Go ahead and check it out. You're gonna love it, you're gonna enjoy it. I think you're just gonna love it, even if you're not a Grifter fan. I don't know about you, but I really got into Grifter because of Wildcats. He was like my favorite, even though he didn't really do much on the TV show, but I knew that he had other powers than just shooting, and the TV show he kind of sucked, but in the comics and the New 52, I really liked him. I really liked the story. I really liked everything. The sadness that he went through, his girlfriend, his assistant who was Sophia, and his brother, all of these people were killed in the progress of this run, and I really want to see a relaunch for Grifter. I really want to see it, just like Deathstroke got a relaunch, just like Suicide Squad got a relaunch. I really want to see a Grifter relaunch, because I really want to see what happened to his girlfriend, because she was sucked into the portal, and I really want to see how Hellspawn wanna answer to Grifter, and if it's possible by DC Comics, they could have started a Wildcats comic book, and that's from where they could pick up the storyline from Grifter from this run. So amazing run. Go ahead, check it out. I don't think you're gonna regret it. If I'm gonna rate this whole freaking run, I'm gonna rate it as a 9 out of 10. Maybe the art and few issues where it was just bad, but other than that, the story was just amazing. I really loved the starring or the guest stars that were in the issues. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this long length review. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I really do. And thank you guys for watching, for the support. If you like what you see, smash the like button, the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, and see you guys around. Take care.